The rain had not stopped for 3 days. The clouds had hung low above the city, draping the rooftops and chimneys in a grey veil that seemed determined to swallow every trace of sunlight. The manor stood silent beneath the storm, its ancient stone walls darkened by the constant rain. Eliza awoke before dawn. At first she did not know what had disturbed her. The room remained unchanged. Candles burned low upon the dresser. The curtains stirred softly beside the tall window. The familiar silence of the manor surrounded her, yet something felt different. She sat upright beneath the blankets and pressed a hand against her chest. Her heart was beating too quickly, not from fear, from the lingering remains of a dream. She could still see fragments of it. Rain, fog, gas lamps glowing faintly in the darkness, and a solitary figure standing motionless at the end of a deserted street, watching, waiting, alone. Strange ache settled inside her. The feeling remained long after the images faded. By mid-morning she could no longer focus on her books. She attempted to read. Twice she found herself staring at the same page without absorbing a single word. Eventually she closed the book with a sigh. The manor suddenly felt smaller than usual, the walls closer, the silence heavier, as though the house itself were holding its breath. Needing distraction, Eliza left her room. The upper corridors stretched before her beneath dim morning light, filtering through stained glass windows. Most of the manor remained unused. Entire wings had been abandoned by previous generations. Rooms were locked. Furniture gathered dust beneath white sheets. Portraits stared down from the walls, with expressions long forgotten by history. She wandered without purpose. At first she merely explored, then curiosity slowly took hold. A corridor she had never entered, a staircase she had always ignored, a forgotten sitting room filled with aging furniture. The further she walked, the older the manor seemed to become. Hours passed unnoticed, until she discovered the cabinet. It stood against the far wall of a neglected drawing room, ancient oak, darkened by time. Its doors hung slightly uneven. The room itself appeared untouched for decades. Dust coated every surface. The air smelled faintly of old paper and damp wood. Eliza almost turned away. Then something caught her eye. A narrow gap inside the cabinet's rear panel, small, barely noticeable. Curiosity overcame caution. She knelt and pressed gently against the wood. To her surprise, it shifted, a hidden compartment. Her pulse quickened. Inside rested a single leather-bound journal, nothing more. She stared at it for several moments, and carefully lifted it into her hands. The leather felt worn smooth with age, the pages yellowed and fragile. Returning to a nearby chair, she opened it. The earliest entries appeared ordinary, descriptions of weather, household routines, visitors arriving from London, nothing unusual. But as the weeks recorded within the journal passed, the tone began to change. The writer spoke of strange feelings, being watched, hearing footsteps outside late at night, sensing a presence near the manor grounds. Eliza's brow furrowed. She continued reading. The handwriting grew increasingly hurried, the entries shorter, more emotional. One page caused her stomach to tighten. I saw him again tonight. Her eyes moved quickly across the page. The same man, standing near the road, motionless, watching the house. A chill moved through her. She turned the page. Another entry. I cannot understand it. He never approaches, never speaks, yet I feel his eyes upon me, Whenever darkness falls, Eliza swallowed. The room suddenly felt colder. Page after page described the same figure, a solitary man, dark clothing, pale features, unmoving, always watching from a distance, never aging, never changing. Her fingers tightened around the journal. The descriptions felt disturbingly familiar, too familiar. She continued reading. Each detail deepened the unease growing inside her chest. The shape of his face, the darkness of his hair, the unnatural stillness, the feeling of sadness surrounding him, and then his eyes. Eliza stopped breathing for a moment. The woman described eyes that seemed ancient, eyes carrying loneliness beyond understanding, eyes she could never forget. The journal slipped slightly within her grasp, because she knew those eyes. She had seen them herself. The rain battered softly against the windows. The room had become completely silent. Eliza turned to the final pages. The handwriting now trembled across the paper. The last entry filled only half a page. She read it once, then again, unable to believe what she was seeing. The date written above the entry was impossible, far older than it should have been. Yet the final words remained unmistakable. He has not changed in 20 years. Eliza stared at the sentence. The ink seemed darker than the rest, as though those words alone had survived untouched by time. Outside, thunder rolled across the distant sky. She slowly closed the journal. A pulse hammered inside her chest. Questions crowded her thoughts. Who was he? How could the descriptions be identical? Why had no one spoken of this? And why did she feel as though the journal had been waiting for her to find it? Night arrived sooner than expected. Rain continued tapping softly against the glass. Candles cast warm pools of light throughout her room. The journal rested beside her, open once more, its final pages already committed to memory. Yet she could not stop rereading them. The words refused to release their hold upon her. Eventually the hour grew late. One by one, the candles burned low. The manor settled into silence. Eliza extinguished the final flame. Darkness filled the room. She lay beneath the blankets, staring toward the ceiling, listening, waiting for what she did not know. Perhaps for footsteps, perhaps for answers, perhaps for him. Sleep eventually claimed her. Outside, the fog drifted slowly through the sleeping city. Across the street from the manor, a solitary figure stood, motionless, within the darkness, watching, not the window, not Eliza, the manor itself. The figure remained completely still, hidden beneath a long black coat, its face concealed by shadow. And one thing was immediately clear: it was not shadow-born.